Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. This is Orphan Last, aka Skylar Madison, and today I'm designing these skulls for a t-shirt design and all that good stuff. This very well may be the last video where I'm designing this t-shirt. By the end of the video, I feel as though I've reached a good point where this is finished work, is what I feel. And make sure that you do stick around till the end of the video, because there does come a point where I kind of adjust from just kind of narrating what it is that I'm doing and kind of talking about my thoughts about everything with this project and such, and I do wind up teaching something. It's a workflow that's really simple to do. Anyone can do it. Anyone can doodle, play around with a bunch of assistant tools, and wind up with a design, and then make a bunch of selections. Anyone can do that. And the thing is that workflow right there can oftentimes give you surprising results. And so I had a happy accident while working on this image throughout the week. Now, it's important to note that even though something is a happy accident, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's something that can't be repeated. Sometimes it means that. Sometimes you look at something, it's a happy accident, and you think, wow, how did I do that? But in this case, it's such a reproducible sort of thing. So anyone can literally do this. I can repeat these steps over and over and over again. And so if you just kind of stick around till the end of the video and just kind of learn this little technique, you're going to find, even if you're just subscribed just to watch me do some artistic stuff, and if you yourself are not very artistic, you might come away by the end of this video knowing something that can make something cool, and I think that you might actually appreciate it. Literally anyone can do it. Now, like I said, by the end of this video I feel as though I'm done with the t-shirt design. However, there may come a point where I might have to revisit this image. Now, I am going to be going through a number of different online companies that provide screen printing services to provide t-shirts, and I'm going to be getting samples from all these different companies and see what the quality is. If none of them are able to output the quality that I want, maybe it's not the screen printer's fault. So if that's the case, I might just open up a vector editing piece of software. And there's actually a free piece of vector editing software out there. It's called Microsoft Expression Design 4. Once again, it's 100% free, and it's made by Microsoft. It's not really something that I would consider on par with something like Adobe Illustrator, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It just needs to be competent enough at working with vectors so that it's more competent than, say, something like Krita. Now, Krita, I would love to be able to do something like this with Krita, but I don't think that its vector work is quite up to par to create a piece of artwork with its vector line work and all that, with what I got going on with this image. I would look forward to the day when Krita is able to do something like this with the vectors. Clearly, obviously, it's able to do it with rasters. I'm doing it right here, right now, with the rasters. So, I mean, and even if it never reaches that point, it doesn't necessarily have to. I mean, look at Photoshop. Its vector editing capabilities are kind of pathetic. I mean, but, you know, it would be awesome because, like, right now, Krita is putting GIMP against the rails with the sort of quality of, you know, artistic output that you're able to create with it, and the interface and everything like that. I mean, it's giving GIMP a run for its money, but it would be also actually pretty awesome to see Krita at one point actually put Inkscape, give it a run for its money, see if it could put Inkscape against the rails and such. I would love to see that. I like seeing the software that I use excel. But yeah, once I wind up getting some of these samples coming my way, what I'm thinking I'm going to be doing is I'm going to make a few videos where I'm pulling out my phone and just kind of looking at okay, so this t-shirt came from this company, and these are my thoughts on it, and this version of the sample, this came from this other company. These are my thoughts on it and such like that. Also, I'm kind of picky. There are screen printing companies out there that evidently they want to actually own all of the rights to the artwork that you want screen printed. Now, that's not going to happen. No one's going to have the rights to my artwork. My artwork is mine, and that's just all there is to it. I have exclusive rights to my, artwork, and if I happen to contract out the right for something like a screen printing service to, utilize my artwork, then they should be grateful as far as I'm concerned, because I can go through anyone. If all of them wind up pretty much making that demand, basically, if every single online screen printing service out there wants to have the rights to everything that I'm drawing that I want to have screen printed, then I guess I'll have to go the route of finding a local business that might be willing to do something like this. Hopefully that can work out. Actually, if I could provide a local business with the ability to interact with my audience in some way, that'd be great. I'd be like swinging business the direction of a local business and all that, just as long as the local business, are willing to handle the, shipping, handling, and all that stuff. I don't want to deal with that. I just want to design. I just want to draw pictures and animate things, and that's all that I want to focus on. I'm not actually going to get involved with the screen printing process unless, I might do something like that. Like, if this is the route that I'm planning on going, I might do something like that just for the sake of education. Like, this is how the screen printing process works and all that. And actually that fascinates me. I've actually walked into a screen printing place and seen them work, but I didn't understand a single thing that I was looking at. And it would be nice to, maybe, at least for one video, to kind of showcase, okay, this is how t-shirts are made, and that's it. But then again, a lot of companies have a lot of trade secrets, so if that's the case, if they don't want me there to publicize their screen printing techniques, then I guess this idea might not be possible. But we'll have to take a look and see. Of course, like, a lot of this stuff is still up in the air. I still have yet to do a lot of the research and, get the samples and such like that. I'll know more when things are less theoretical and in the near future and such like that. Now, as I progressed further and further along with the image throughout the week, there was something missing out of the image, and so I was thinking, well, what if there was a pentagram behind these skulls? Now, before people accuse me of things when I say pentagram, pentagrams have this weird association with, like, people think devil worship or something like that, and to be honest, I'm not going to argue with you. I mean, I kind of disagree. I guess even... The thing is that, like, since there happens to be a pentagram, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's oriented around devil worship or something like that. For example, I might just be a fan of Fullmetal Alchemist, which is an excellent television series. Like, one of the... Actually, no, it's not one of the greatest anime and manga series of all time. It is the greatest manga and anime series of all time, pure and simple, from my perspective, my point of view, like, bar none. And so that's what kind of inspired the idea of creating a pentagram behind these skulls. Now, by the time that this video is over, it doesn't really look like a pentagram. It looks more like just a creative design. I didn't want to use reference images in order to create it. Ultimately, if I used a reference of a real pentagram, it might actually offend somebody. And if I wound up using a reference image from Fullmetal Alchemist, there'd be the desire to mimic it. And I didn't want to even broach towards any of those at all, So, you know, that's kind of my thought process throughout this whole thing. So it's coming up towards the point where I start kind of slowing down the video and start kind of teaching how it is that I got some of these little effects to happen with, for the purposes of this video, I'm just going to call it a pentagram. And so just a moment here. Let's see. Okay, any moment now. Okay, not so much. Okay, so here I start kind of deciding on the size of what the design of the pentagram should be. And I start kind of sketching it out. And I tend to, with my sketches, I tend to use a lot of different colors. And, you know, pentagrams are just generally doodles and such like that, designs and such, have a lot of geometric shapes. So I decided to, okay, well, let's play around with some squares and such like that and see what I can do, put some circles around here and there. Now, of course, this is my sketch. I didn't really plan on actually utilizing each and every single element from my sketch. It's just a sketch. It's just an idea. So here I adjust the size because I knew that, okay, well, the exterior of this I want to be pretty big. The only problem is that Krita really starts to lag down when you have a really big brush size. And it's pretty obvious just by my footage. Oftentimes I'm repeating steps because it just started processing things. Actually, I had to draw this in red twice because red is the color that I decided to go with for the final version of this pentagram. And I pressed Control Z and it treated every single line that I drew for this pentagram as if it was one brush stroke. And so I tried pressing Control Shift Z, which is undo inside of Krita, and that didn't work. So I had to redraw it all over again. And it happened right here. You'll see it. Like, it wouldn't let me draw a line, so I pressed Control Z, and so I had to redraw it. I had to kind of skip some footage and kind of show me doing all of this, like do the tail end of it all over again a little bit. Okay, so here I go into my browser, and Adobe has some pretty cool things that you can use. So you can go into exact color, the Docker inside of Krita, and like grab the exact color, like this code, the number of like numbers and stuff like that, and just paste it in here. And I didn't like when I had the triadic colors on the color wheel. I really liked that blue color, so I select that color code. And I went ahead and pasted it into the exact color or specific color Docker inside of Krita. So that gave me the blue color. Now I don't really use the blue color at all. Or at least during the beginning of this process here. So then I select my pentagram by right-clicking and select opaque. And once I see the marching ants on the screen, I can see, okay, well, here I go ahead and use the color picker. I'm thinking, well, do I want to darken the color, or what is it that I want to do exactly? And so I decided, no, let's see. So I went ahead and I went to select and shrink selection, and I typed in a value, and I pressed Control-Shift-I. Control-Shift-I, instead of it selecting your selection, it selects everything but the selection. And so it's basically the inverted version of the selection. So I went ahead and I pasted in the exact same red color as my pentagram. Now it just looks like I just filled the entire screen, but I turn off the actual pentagram layer, and you can actually see that there is some line work there. So what I do is I select the actual pentagram opaque information and then select the thing that just made the layer that made everything just turn completely red, and I pressed delete. Now at this point the computer was really lagging down on me, so that it took some time. Now it looks like nothing happened at all, but just take a look at this. I go ahead and deactivate my pentagram layer, and you can see it. That's what I just created. So I go ahead and activate my pentagram layer again, and I selected its opaqueness, and I went ahead and I remembered the value, the number of pixels I wanted it to shrink the first time around. So I type in a greater number in which I wanted it to shrink, and again it was lagging out. And actually I think I selected grow selection in that situation. You can see me here kind of selecting the blue color and darkening it and desaturating it a bit as well. And so let's see what do I do? What am I doing? Okay, so I reselected the pentagram information. Selected, yeah, okay, so here I'm selecting the new okay, here I press Control-Shift-A, I select the opaque information of the pentagram, I go to select, and shrink selection, and I type in a value that is greater than the value that I have for the other red layer for the pentagram. Okay, see here, it's lagging out. It's actually giving me a progress bar. And any moment now... Okay, so here it is. It's on the screen right here. You see it. Now I have that blue color. So I press Control-Shift-I and I go ahead and fill. And I'm just experimenting at this point. And I'm thinking, whoa! Okay, all I wanted to do was create some shadows, like a shadow effect, and erase all this information that I didn't need in order to create a shadow. But I liked this so much, I was just like thinking, well, I'm just going to keep this. This is awesome. Like, why not keep it? So I go ahead and turn on my other layers, and I think, yeah, this is working. This is working a lot. So, in the end, what I wind up doing is I wind up doing some last-minute cleanup work. And I also create basically, I select the layers for my skulls, and I go to select, grow selection, and I think I did something like 5 pixels, and filled in on a new layer, so that there's just this white border around my skulls, so that there is more of a distinguishment, I guess, whatever, from the skulls to the actual pentagram itself, so that things don't just mesh together as if it just doesn't make sense. This helps make it so that the skulls pop out a lot more. And you can see that every once in a while I'm erasing these white lines that I didn't anticipate would be there. Sometimes you need to do this. Sometimes it's user error. Sometimes it's just software doing what software does and confuses you. I do a lot of experimentation. I do this thing in the middle of the pentagram, and I don't like it. In fact, I wind up getting rid of what I just did there in the middle of the pentagram, especially once I start adding some gradient effects. And I'm not quite sure if I'm going to keep the gradient effects when it's all said and done, but even still, I think it looks excellent. You can see I turn them off, and I see that's just sticking out all weird, so I go ahead and look at it, and this is the final version. And I think that this is going to be a t-shirt that I would actually want to wear. I am still thinking about having 2 versions of it. I'm thinking of even still having the 3 original skulls with the pentagram there as well, all off-center and all that, just kind of an asymmetric design. and all that good stuff. So hopefully that made sense there at the tail end where I'm kind of describing everything. Anyways, guys, that pretty much concludes it for this video. If you guys enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you didn't like it, please like, share, and subscribe anyways. There's a lot of work that goes into making these videos. And if you'd like to take a look at any of my other videos, feel free to click on any of them that are appearing on the screen right now. Thank you very much for your time.